Hello everybody and welcome to Storm Reads, and today I'm going to be talking about my number one goal for next year. So my number one reading goal for next year is to read my own books. I have so many of them and I want to start reading more of them. And a lot of them are going to be ones that I have to read with my eyes because I can't find audio or even like an ebook to take it on the go or anything like that. And I'm pretty sure we've all realized that my eyes are getting really bad, and so therefore it's a lot of like reading up here like this and things like that, and so it's going to take me longer to read them. So I know like I won't read a whole lot of them, but I do want to work on them. That is going to be my thing. So I thought what I would do with this video is go over the books that I did manage to read in 2024 that were my own books, whether I had the help of audio or ebooks or whatever. I still accomplished reading quite a few books, and so I thought I would just go ahead and mention them. And we're going to start off with one that I DNF'd. And so I said, even if I don't like one, it's in my collection, I'm keeping it. I mean, look at this cover. It's like so cool. But this one was The Eye of the Sun, and I was buddy reading this with Tammy from Believe in Your Shelf. And she managed to finish it, and I just could not get through. I did not like the main characters or I didn't even like the main female or the male. I didn't like any of the characters, really. They were just horrible people. She barely made it through it and everything, and she did not like it. And yeah, I just gave up. I just couldn't do it. So I quit. So our first buddy read didn't get off to a good start, so we need to try to buddy read something else, maybe in 2025. And so everybody knows I collect a lot of retro romances and things like that. I have my readathon and all that stuff. But I've really gotten into more retro mysteries and things like that. And it seems like my shift in what I've been looking for whenever I go thrifting has been like a lot more mystery, adventure, and things like that. I still am collecting the retro romances, but I have seen like a little bit of a shift in just my reading in general. And so I did read quite a few of Earl Stanley Gardner. I got 4 of them here. So I got Perry Mason and The Case of the Velvet Claw, Perry Mason and The Case of the Sulky Girl, and Perry Mason and The Case of the Lucky Legs, and then a standalone by him, which was The Case of the Musical Cow. I don't have it over here, but I'm hoping to, by the end of this month, have Perry Mason and The Case of the Howling Dog done as well, and that will be another one off of my shelves. But yeah, so I am really glad that I got into Perry Mason this year and that I enjoyed Perry Mason, because I have quite a few and I am still collecting in that series. Like, I don't have like the actual number 5, so I am on the lookout for number 5, but I have number 6 and then some of the other ones, and so there's that. And then I did start reading a new to me author, and that was Helen McGinnis. And so I read Above Suspicion, and this is a spy thriller, and I started out, this is her very first book, and I don't know if it was just because it was my first like spy thriller from like this era that I just absolutely really was encaptured with it, and I really enjoyed it, and I gave it like 5 stars, because the other books that I've read by her just haven't really lived up to that, and I don't know if it's just I liked that one and nothing else is like that. But I did read Why Still We Live, and then North from Rome, and I gave both of these like 3 stars, where I gave like this 5 stars. So I still have a whole bunch of Helen McGinnis books, and I am on my search for another book that I'm going to enjoy as much as Above Suspicion. And then I do have my retro romances and stuff, and I do have more down here, but I started out with like the small ones that I have in like the plastic. The other ones aren't in plastic. And so we have Flight into Yesterday by Margaret Way. This was my first Margaret Way book, and I thought it was decent. Strange Recompense by Catherine Arley. It was my first book for this author, and this one was interesting. And one of the things that I find fun about these books is, even though they're supposed to be like romances, there's like barely any romance at all in these. Like, to the point that sometimes you just don't really understand how they get together in the end, because there's just no romance. I mean, half the time they don't even like each other until like the very end. Beware the Huntsman by Sophie Weston was my favorite from this year that I read out of these small Harlequin romances. I read another one by Sophie Weston, which I couldn't find. It's in a tub somewhere. I'm missing a couple of my books that I read this year because they're in a tub somewhere. But yeah, so I read The Goblin Court by her as well, and I didn't like it as much as this one. This one was a lot of fun. He was a playboy, and he was just a lot of fun. And then I read Seen and Not Heard by Anne Stewart. It's my second Anne Stewart book, but my first, what is supposed to have been a romantic suspense, which I really just considered a suspense after reading it, because there was really not that much romance to be seen in this, and even the romance that was supposed to be in here just didn't really seem very romantic in a way of romance. It was just mainly suspense with this little tiny speck of romance or whatever. So, but if I would have gone into it just thinking it was a suspense book, I think I would have liked it more. But since I thought it was supposed to be a romantic suspense, I didn't care for it quite as much. But it still got like 3 stars, I think. It was, you know, decent. And then I managed to read a couple of Agatha Christie's this year, and one of them that I had on my shelf was Murder on the Orient Express. I didn't like this one as much as everybody else does. I thought it was kind of depressing, to be honest. So, not my favorite Hercule Poirot, but it was okay. Then I got to read my first men's adventure action kind of novel, and I have War Against the Mafia by Don Pendleton, and this is the first book in the Executioner series. I have a whole bunch of Executioner books, and I'm hoping to find more of them and everything. Will I ever get all the books ever collected? No, but I would like to have to where I could read like the first like 30 or 40, you know, and everything. I don't have number 2. I think the next one that I have in my collection is number 4. So I'm on the lookout for 2 and 3. But I can get them on audio and things, but I would like to have just at least the first like 40. Now I have more along in the series, because I have probably about 40 or 50 of the books. But there are like, if you count off even the spin-offs from Mac Bolan and all that stuff, there's like 600 books, I think. So yeah, it's not very feasible to probably collect them all or find them all. So I will collect what I can find and everything, but I would like to have consecutive so that I could just have them in my collection, like the first 40 maybe. I have some later ones, like I even have number 200 and things like that. So, I mean, I do have a nice little collection, but yeah, that's just my thinking. But I like this. It was fun and cheesy and over the top. Then one I read that for Garb August as well, and I read this one, and that was The Young and the Violent by Vin Packers, and this was kind of a, like the 1950s scene, like a bunch of like teen gang type books and things like that. This was very depressing. I wasn't really a huge fan of this one at all. It was just depressing. I mean, it's definitely, you know, kind of what you would think of for this typical type of book, There's going to be some sad parts at the end because, I mean, it's gangs and gang violence and just misunderstandings and stuff over a girl, and it was just, I wasn't impressed. Then I read Adventures in Babysitting, and this one was a lot of fun. If you've ever watched the movie, this is pretty much the movie in book form, except for there were a couple of spots in here that were quite different than the TV show, and you can tell where they took a part in here and made it a lot more visual on the show, which made the part in the show really fun and funny, where it was just an okay part in here. So I could see why they did that. So that's all the ones that I have wrapped up nice and secure. That's something that I'm trying to do. It's going to take a lot of these little book wrappy things to get all of my books in something like this. So then we have, my dog has abandoned me and going out and everything. But we have Headhunter by E.J. Hunter. This was for Garbogust, and it was pure garbage. And it is probably something that I'm not going to collect going forward. I was just curious about this one, and I knew it would be good for Garbogust. It was number 3 in a series, and you know I don't like reading out of order. And I felt like I was missing things the whole entire time, because I know that it started out with the death of her father, probably in book 1, and why she's chasing after these outlaws and everything. But I read it. It was not good, and that's why I'm not collecting. Then I had Bar 20 by Clarence E. Mulford, which is the first book in this version of Hopalong Cassidy. I think he has like his version, which I think he's the creator of Hopalong Cassidy, and then I do believe that what is that Western guy? Lula Moore, I think he has a version of Hopalong Cassidy as well, like a series. So it's very hard for me to like figure out like where to read and what books in this series. They're all over the place on Goodreads. I'm going to have to look on like maybe Fantastic Fiction will help me out. I have like I think 3 or 4 of these books on my collection. I don't really collect a lot of Westerns, but Hopalong Cassidy was always my favorite show to watch with my dad and everything, so I thought I would try it in book form, and so that's what we got here, and it was okay. And then I have a nonfiction, which was The Pantic Broadcast by Howard Koch, and this one was interesting to read and then watch or not watch, but listen to the actual broadcast that Orson Welles did and everything, and I did a nice little project on that, so maybe if I remember, I will try to put it in a card or down below so that you can go and check that out if you would like. And it went with this, which was The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. I read this for Victober, and I mashed these together in a video. So. And I read Haunted by Heather Graham. This is the first book in the Harrison Investigation series. Not my favorite Heather Graham book. I did not like the main character in this one. Thank goodness the second book in this series was a lot better. But I don't have that one actually collected yet. But there was this one. Another one of my retro romances, I have Rose by Lee Greenwood, which is the first book in the Seven Brides series. I would like to get to some more of these, I think, in 2025. I have several of these somewhere in a tub and everything, so I would like to find them. One of the things that I am trying to concentrate on right now is going back through my tubs, because I have my new like software that I am using, that it's a subscription based one, but it's not like too expensive and everything, and it allows me to put like what tub it is in, so that way if I decide I want to read a book, I can like look on my sheet that I have on the website and I'll be like, oh, it's in blue tub number 1 or orange tub number 2 or whatever it is, until eventually one day I get my bookshelves where I want them and all that stuff. One day it's going to happen, really. And then I have the first Hardy Boys, which is the Tower Treasure. And I found out that I really like Hardy Boys. I had never read Hardy Boys that I can remember. I mean, I may have read them when I was younger, but I don't remember. And I actually really enjoyed this. There was a lot of fun because the things that the kids do in these books, I mean, this is from like the 1920s and everything. And there was a whole breed of kid back then. They are a lot different than like kids today. Kids today are so privileged. Kids back then had to work very hard. And so, yeah, it's a different breed of kid, and the things that they do and everything, it's just interesting. And then I have Bunnicula by James Howe and Deborah Howe. And I love Bunnicula. This was a childhood favorite, and so it was fun to reread this one again and then continue on with the series. I finished like the whole series out, but I don't have the whole collection of the series. Eventually, one day I will, but I have Bunnicula. Then I was given this book, and so I have a couple of others from this author that I need to get to. And so we have Ungifted by Gordon Corman, and this was a middle grade book, and it was fun and enjoyable. And I think there's a second book in this series, like a duology, and I need to get to that and everything. But I do want to read more Gordon Corman. This was my first one, and I think I will enjoy him, though it's not my typical type of read, but I still think I would enjoy it. Okay, so I'm going to count a couple of books that I got from publishers because they are finished copies. They're not like e-arts or anything like that. And I really enjoyed these books, and I would like to collect any of the other ones that are going to be coming out in this series to have them on my collection. So I have Theodore Hendricks and the Monstrous League of Monsters by Jordan Copy, I'm not sure exactly how you say that. And then we have Theodore Hendricks and the Curious Case of the Cursed Beetle. So we have these two fine books, and I think the third one is supposed to come out in 2025. These were adorable and a lot of fun, and I think everybody should read them. And since I got them in their finished copies, and they are basically mine and going to be on my shelves, I'm counting them as part of reading my own books. And then the last one that I have, there was another romance book, and I can't remember what it was. Is it? Oh, This Matter of Marriage by Debbie Maycomer is in one of my tubs somewhere. But I did read that one this year and everything. And then we have The Chunky Beast, which was The Mysteries of Paris by Eugene Sue, which I just finished this month, and it was a chunky beast, and everybody knows I've been reading this like pretty much since April. I think that's when Nicole says that we've been reading it, so I'm going to go with that because I really don't remember. And so, yeah, I'm really glad that it's finished and it's done, but it's definitely probably going to be a book that's going on like my Pango shelf because I don't want to keep it. I didn't like it enough to keep it and everything, but it was read. And that, everybody, is all the books off of my own shelves that I read in 2024. Could be better, could be a lot more. I really need to prioritize, and I think one of my problems is I would get myself wrapped up in too many readathons, and then therefore I would feel obligated to read readathon books, and then my books didn't fit the readathons. So I really think that going forward, I need my books to be able to fit into readathons, or I just don't participate in the readathon, or I just participate with 1 to 2 books for the readathon instead of going whole hog and everything. And so we'll see how that goes, because I think I said that last time and then I like participated in everything. But I really do want to read more of my own books, and I know it'll take me a lot more time, and so I probably won't read as many books, and that's okay. just want to enjoy the books that I have surrounding me, because there's a bunch. And I need to organize. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!